Today, we have another wonderful guest here with us. We have Anumeha Gupta, who is a spiritual mentor and intuitive healer who helps mothers transform anger into enlightenment so they can melt the walls around their hearts and experience love fully. I'm so excited to have a conversations with Anu about anger and reasons why women may be angry in today's world and motherhood and potentially some ancestral trauma and how it's been passing on through generations and how we can overcome that. And we're going to go into all the wonderful modalities and late learnings and wisdom that Anu has experienced on her journey, that she collected and that she now spends her days helping and teaching and sharing with others. But as always, I don't want to do any longer rambling than necessary. I want to hand over and welcome Anu and tell her hi, welcome, and tell us and our listeners a little bit more about yourself, please.
Sure. Thank you, Lenka and Natalie. I am based in California. I am a mom. I have two children, 10 years old and 14 years old. And I think my biggest struggle in my life has been anger myself, that's what brings us into the path we were meant to walk on. And I remember that it was the January of 2021. And I met a friend in a cafe and she asked me, "What's your New Year resolution?" And I said, I thought about it for a long time and I said, I just want to feel love again. I have two children, I have a husband, but for some reason, I'm not able to feel love for anyone. And that became like my goal. Like, what's wrong with me? Why is this happening? And I found that as we grow up, as children, we are free and we love everyone and you know how we are, so innocent. But we go through these life experiences, we experience some hurts, and then we start protecting our heart and we start building walls around it, walls after walls, layers after layers. We start holding so much resentment, regrets, rejections. Everything makes a big, it's like a thick layer around our wall. And slowly we start thinking more from our head. And now we are the heart and head, there's a disconnect. And so that was my own journey. And now I help other women peel those layers, like an onion, peel those layers back and reconnect with their heart. What do they desire? What is the life they want to live? Not what other people decide for you, not what you should be living, but what does your heart sing for? And that's why I love what I do. It's very fulfilling.
That's quite a big thing to have to acknowledge to oneself that you're not feeling love anymore. And it's something that I think is quite common and most probably more common than we would think. As you said, we put these protection layers around us and these build these walls just to protect ourselves from life, from everything. So thank you for sharing that, because it's very powerful and it's also courageous to say, I don't feel love anymore, and to say that with the idea that you might be judged for that, because it's like, well, why don't you feel love? And being able to share that. So thank you. I just wanted to say that thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you for asking. Really, I love that I have this opportunity to share with people, share my journey.
So I'm curious then, if you wouldn't mind, to go a little bit more into your journey, maybe before you had this realization that you are in this state of not feeling love and having so much anger? Where were you in your life, in your career, in the world, in your mind state that led you? Is there something in your life in particular that led you to this situation? Is it just life in general to then helped you to get this realization? Because sometimes getting to the moment of being aware is the hardest part, because we can live with our blinders on, can just live, oh, this is how it is, this is how everyone around me is, or as you said, what's wrong with me, that I'm the only one, realizing you're probably not the only one. But could you shine a bit of a light on then your journey to this point? And then we can talk later about, well, what happened after this realization.
As a child, I loved peace. I always wanted to maintain peace. So I was a people pleaser completely. And because of that, there were these moments in few months when I used to explode like a volcano and get so angry that I got this energy in my hand, and my hand was out of my control, and I had to throw something to calm down. And I had become really good at choosing things which won't break and where to toss them and everything. But I noticed that was a pattern with me. And it happened maybe once in 5 months or once in 6 months. But after the anger, after the outburst, it used to be followed by guilt all the time. That was a usual pattern. And this pattern became more often after I had children. And that's when, our children, they push all the sensitive buttons. They know exactly what to push. And it's for my children that I was like, I have everything anyone could ask for, but I'm still not able to feel love. I remember once I got my son refused to turn off the screen, and we have so many shoulds as moms. And my should was, if I am a good mom, my child should only be watching 1 hour screen. And this is the worst thing that I could do to my children. And when he didn't stop watching the screen, I got so upset that I picked up the iPad and I threw it on the bed. But it fell down, it stopped working. And then that's when my son was crying, my daughter started crying, then I started crying. And I was like, something needs to shift, What's the point of having children if you are not able to enjoy them? And I think that was my turning point. Also, I would like to mention here that my sister really was instrumental in me realizing that something needed to shift. Our family really can support us in our awakening. And she told me, she also has children, and she told me, this is affecting the children too much. You need to find out what's going on inside. And that's when I started going to healers, all the things I studied, Ayurveda, yoga, ThetaHealing. Everything was to actually understand myself more than anything else. So I hope this answers your question.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. And you are so right that it can be our family or our chosen family, our closest friends and partners and colleagues who we spend a lot of time with and we open to, that sometimes are instrumental to us realizing that things do need to change. We can't continue as we are, that it is okay to struggle and it's okay to look for a path, but that we do need to do some inner work, some digging to figure out what's going on so we can get on the path of healing, not only for our loved ones and children and partners and family are a huge motivation, but also for ourselves. And that's why what we try to do here on the podcast to enable anyone for themselves and the people in their world to get on a path of figuring out what's going on and to heal and to improve and to grow and to find happier, healthier, more life. So I'm so grateful that you're here, you're having a chat with us. So you mentioned a few of those things that you then started exploring. So could you tell us a little bit what you then took away? What were the maybe the little nuggets and steps on this journey of discovery, of going through Ayurveda, of going into yoga and meditation, theta healing? I know that you have variety of different trainings and modalities that you now tap into, but usually there is one thing that leads to the other, that leads to the other, that we start
Absolutely.
building this unique. That's why everyone is unique, because even though we had people before who are, yoga teachers, yoga practitioners who do these things, there's the combination and the perspective and the reason why you go in. Could we go on the journey of, okay, you had this realization, you made this New Year resolution that you're gonna look into it, you're gonna figure it out. Where was your first step, and where this first step then led you on this path, and maybe what were the key kind of takeaways from these explorations?
Wow, I love this question. Thank you for asking. And I think this will be useful to listeners as well. I hope it is. That's my wish. Let's say this, that when we really desire something from our heart, it's like this cry which goes out in the universe, and the exact people who can help you, they show up. It's just unbelievable how this works. So let's start with Ayurveda. The first step for me was understanding my dosha, if you know the 5 elements: space, air, fire, water, earth. What is dominant in me? And I found out that I'm a combination of space, air, which is called vata, and fire with a little water. So that's pitta. So what happens with these people is, these combination people, they are a lot in their head. The qualities are light for them. They don't have much grounding. For example, if I had more water and earth elements in me, I would be more grounded. But I have all the lighter elements in, like dominant in me. So I'm more in my head than in my body. And because of that, I can get overwhelmed very quickly. And I have a lot of ideas. And it's also hard for me to make decisions because I have so many options I could think of. Now, these things can bring in a frustration. And that frustration makes you react. So I learned that it's very important for me to be grounded and very important for me to have a routine. As a space and air person, I love doing what I want to do whenever I want to do. I don't want any bondage. I don't want any structure. I want to be a free bird. And in Ayurveda, I learned that just brings me more out of balance. And I need to balance with structure. So I have put myself in a really good routine, and I understand my qualities and my dosha so well that when I start going out of balance, I can catch it and bring back to balance. So if you know a little about Ayurveda, it even helps with preventive health, balance of mind and body. So that was my first step. But I still got angry. I even asked my teacher. I remember I asked the Ayurveda doctor I learned from. I asked her, I'm still getting angry. What happened? Why have I not fixed this yet? So my journey then took me to Enneagram. Have you heard of Enneagram? You have.
Yes,
Perfect.
we had the Enneagram doctor here on our podcast a couple episodes ago. So if anyone is unfamiliar with the concept, we will link it in the description.
Awesome. Awesome. So in the Enneagram, I found out I'm a number 9. And there was a statement I read in this book which said, number 9s are the people who go to their grave realizing that they never lived the life they wanted to live. That just shocked me to the core. I'm like, enough. I am going to first understand what I want, because I had no idea. I remember my father telling me that if he gave me a choice of choosing vanilla or chocolate ice cream, I would first think what my father wants me to eat and then make the choice. So I said, nothing doing. This is too much. I cannot waste my life. We have one life. I cannot waste this. And I'm sure you guys understand this more than anyone in the world. And I said, okay. So I started connecting with what I want. I started speaking up. I started telling my children what I wanted, not being a yes mom and regretting later, So that helped me. And then I still got angry. Even after that, I still had the outbursts. I'm like, okay, now what's next? What am I supposed to do? And then I had a call with one of my other teachers, and she's an intuitive healer. And with her, I found out that I needed inner child work. I had this inner child who was hurting. I had these traumas from my childhood, very innocent. Like, my parents are very sweet people. But, as a child, something very innocent can also cause you trauma. And I was carrying that. And with her help, I connected with my inner child. I mothered her. I nourished her. And that gave me a lot of relief. And I said, okay, I think now this is solved. I think now I'm calmer and I'm patient. And I did feel calmer, but there was still something. There's still something. And I started seeing a pattern. And the pattern emerged that I used to be angry more with men than with women. I was losing it on my son, my husband. I had grievances against my father. And once I remember, and I'm being very candid, but once I was walking on the street in India, and there was a man on a cycle. He was on a bicycle. And while riding his bicycle, I think by mistake, he came a little too close to me. He was a stranger. But my immediate reaction, I didn't do it, but my immediate reaction was I felt like just kind of hitting him like a karate chop and making him fall off the cycle. That was my immediate impulse, but I didn't act on it. And I thought, why did I get so angry? And then I realized I was actually carrying anger against patriarchy. And this anger was not mine. It was coming from my ancestors. These women before me, and I come from northern India, and that was a part from where all these invasions happened. The invaders came through northern India, and I joined the dots to understand the women before me had been through so much that their trauma, their anger had gone into their DNA, and through that had come to me. And now it was playing in my life, where continuously I was reminded that I am a victim of men. And I kid you not, the clients I see, most of the women I see carry the same trauma. So with Theta Healing, I release that trauma. And with Theta Healing, I release the fear of love. So Theta Healing really helped me put a lot of loose pieces, string them together. And I can say that I haven't felt love the way I feel now. I have never felt love. And I cannot tell you how beautiful that feeling can be.
So one thing that's would be interesting to know is, as you going through this journey and starting to feel love, how is that impacting your relationships with your children and with your husband and, just with your family, friends, colleagues? Because you're going through quite a massive change and learning to feel love essentially through all these journeys, and they sound really fascinating, and I'd love to just go into them a little bit more, but I'd like to know how it's impacted your relationships.
Thank you. So there is a love with attachment, and there is a love with detachment. And in Hinduism, there's this word called vairagya, which is detachment. And an example of this is if we are walking on the street and there's this rose which smells heavenly, can we stand there, enjoy that fragrance, be one with that fragrance, and then have the discernment and the detachment to let that rose be and move on? So I am now experiencing this love where I feel a deep love for my family without the expectations of how they need to behave, how they need to show up. Only if you watch 1 hour of TV, you are going to be loved by me. Otherwise, I am going to be mad at you. Only if you do well in your studies, I'm going to love you. Only if you do these things and that things, and having the expectations. And I feel like somewhere I have dropped a lot of expectations. I'm giving space for them to show up the way they want to show up. I don't need to keep telling them I love them, but the way I look at them, the eyes are windows of the soul, the way I look at them, the way my soul speaks to their soul, there is a certain security that we are loved no matter what.
That's so beautiful and powerful, even for people who, like myself, don't have children, but we have parents who, we have been through this experience the other way around, maybe that we may still carry some childhood trauma in ourselves and that we're processing, but also that we have partners and we have friends and we have family. And this feeling that you were describing of this unconditional love and no expectations, I think this is the biggest challenge in any kind of a relationship. Be it a friend to friend, be it a partner to partner, be it a parent to a child. It's so much expectation. We live in a world that with social media puts so much pressure, so much expectation on how our bodies should look like, how our families should look like, how our lives should look like. And this is such a powerful thing to release, to be able to find a way to just let it be and not have all these expectations sitting on us and us then exposing them onto others, and again have our love conditional only if. But I can also see that it's not easy to do. It's easy to talk about it and we all can agree that it's important and valuable and would be amazing, but oh boy, just I'm starting to think about how would we go about doing that. And I'm not surprised that you had to go through, so many layers of learning and exploration and healing and processing to be able to come to the state where you are right now.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I'm curious if then knowing more about yourself, you talked about Ayurveda and where in the system you sit and how then in the Ayurvedic system, what is your profile? And we obviously know that there are lots of different profiling systems. We had people talking about human design. You have mentioned the Enneagram. There are lots of personality tests. There's lots of modalities out there that people can go and answer some questions and get a summary report that you're this projector or you're that kind of a personality number 9 or you're this on the personality test. And often we can see it as a label as well. This is who I am. This is, you just take me as I am because, well, apparently the test says that these are my traits. So I'm going to use it as almost a shield to avoid dealing with it rather than to take it and understand yourself better. How do you work with then having more information about yourself in a practical way that allows you to, grow and evolve and process and heal?
Wow, what a beautiful question, Lenka. Thank you for asking. So, I want to share a few things that came up when I was listening to you. One was, I want to say I'm not perfect still. I have done a lot of work, but I still have a journey. I still have so many things I want to experience. I'm still learning. But I do feel a big shift because I'm not afraid to love anymore. So that was one thing. The other thing is loving others starts with loving myself. And if you remember, I talked about guilt. And mother's guilt is huge. I don't know any mother who doesn't carry guilt. It just comes along with that tag. And mother's guilt really bogs us down. And we start feeling bad about the way we are showing up, and we feel awful and not up to the mark. So I had to really accept myself for who I am, the way I show up unconditionally, for me to be able to do that for others. So that's what helped me. And then coming to all these tools, it's a very valid question, because when I started in the beginning reading Vata, that is the space and air, and somewhere inside you, you want to believe that this is you. You want to believe, like if you go to a tarot reader, you want to believe the card is true for you and you can trust that tarot reader. So similarly, when you have all these, what are they called? Uh, personality types, you feel like you want to fit exactly into this mold. You read all the points, and even if you're not that, you try to behave like that because you need some security, something that someone who understands who you are. And it's a trap. So I have understood over a period of time that these are all guidance. We are still so unique because of the past lives that we have lived. No personality test can tell me exactly who I am, because my journey over my past lifetimes is very different from you. And that has made me the person I am. Today, I cannot carry anything I've earned to my next life. Nothing I can carry, but I can carry one thing, and that is my spiritual evolution. So this evolution is going to make me the person I will be in my next birth, and no personality test knows what that will be. So I just take things which resonate with me, because I know that's what I was meant to read. And then I work with that.
It's so true. You said it again beautifully that, sometimes knowing those labels and having all these achievements actually means nothing. It just means whatever the inner transition, the inner change has happened, whatever the inner evolution has become, because then it helps us in this life to be a better person. It helps us to feel more joy and, go through the life with more happiness and gratitude. And I'm then curious to look a bit at how you then help others. So you've been on this wonderful journey, you've learned these things about yourself, you still work on them, of course. And then you realize that there will be more people like you, more women, more mothers struggling with guilt and with anger, and realizing that generational trauma, that the patriarchy, all these things in our world make a lot of people feel very similar to yourself. So when someone like that approaches you, comes to you, finds your content online, hears about you on a podcast, they're like, I feel the same. I feel anger. I'm not happy in my life. I want to improve my relationship with myself, with my partner, with my children. What happens? What next? How does this healing journey for them start working with you?
Oh, okay. Yeah, very pertinent question. Uh, I generally offer 30-minute calls to people. They are complimentary calls. So if anyone feels they want to work with me, I first have this complimentary call to understand their goals. What are they missing? What is their heart seeking? And I use a lot of sacred work because I feel as humans, it is not physically and it's not practically possible to find the root of issues. So all my work has mantra chanting, invoking the divine feminine. I believe in the Devi. Devi is there for all of us. I believe all women are goddesses. And so I do a lot of sacred work. And it always starts with that 30-minute call to understand if we are a good fit for each other. And then when a client signs up, I usually like to do 6 sessions because every time we peel a layer, it's like an onion and we go deeper and deeper. So 6 sessions is generally my recommended length of work. And we always start with the client telling me what they want to work on. And it's like magic because every time before the appointment, they would have gone through some life experience just few days before the appointment, which will be top of their mind. And they'll be like, okay, I know, let's start with this. So we start with that. And then we just take, it's like a rope. And we start going deeper, 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 deeper. And whatever comes up because it's with divine grace that we do everything. Even this interview, it just seems like a divine grace because the questions you're asking, the things that are coming up, I feel like I'm more like a channel. And everything that these listeners need to know today, whoever they are, wherever they are in the world, I'm sure somewhere this is happening for them. So that's how the session goes. And through digging, we come to the root. And then whether the root needs inner child healing, maybe it needs some Ayurvedic wisdom, maybe it needs theta healing, whatever it needs, maybe it just needs for you to breathe through your belly and you've been breathing through your chest all these years. And you just need to relax and breathe deeply. So whatever comes up, we work with that. It's very intuitive, very spontaneous. And then I have a little homework every time.
Homework is usually quite useful sometimes. It wasn't at school, but I have noticed that when you're on a healing or spiritual journey or just trying to find more, homework is useful. So don't anybody tell my teachers from school that I said that. So you mentioned Ayurvedic healing or therapies as well as is the theta, is that
Theta
healing? Can you describe it a little bit? I have an idea, but just for our listeners to really describe what is Ayurvedic therapy and what is the theta therapies, just so that they've got a clearer understanding. I know you did delve into it a little bit and how that's helped your journey, but if more for somebody who maybe is not sure what type of therapies there are or how it works, can you sort of dig a little bit into that?
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's start with Ayurveda. Ayurveda is Indian traditional medicine. And how it came into being was there about 10,000 years ago, man was living in forests. And there were these people who were natural scientists, you can call them, both men and women, who were very curious about how the world works, why we are falling sick, why is there so much misery? And there are all these questions. And to find answers, they meditated right in the lap of nature. And as they meditated, they reached such high levels of consciousness that the nature started giving them answers. And what nature told them is, what brings you the problem, the same thing also brings you the solution. Both are hidden in the same thing. And the example is, Suppose we are feeling very cold, it's winter, and the nature's brought this weather and it's inclement weather, can't handle the cold. It can really put us out of balance. We can be sick, we can have anxiety, a lot of things. But the same nature also provides us ginger. And ginger has warming properties, which can very well help you combat that cold. So Ayurvedic wisdom shows you that everything that you're struggling, first of all, you don't need to struggle. If you understand the elements in you and the elements in the food around you, and how you can harness the nature's rhythms. Animals follow a rhythm of nature, but man thinks that man is above everything. So we don't want any structure. We want to be our own boss. But it's actually when we start following the rhythm of nature, we align our sails, the sails of our boat, we align it with the wind, not against the wind. And then there is no stopping. So that is Ayurvedic wisdom, understanding ourselves, what are the elements in us, what is the food that balances us, what puts us out of balance, what is the lifestyle that balances us. And it's all individually designed. What works for me might not work for you. It's so unique.
I love how this goes back to nature and really living with nature. We've had, we've talked about like the summer and winter solstice and the cycles of, the weather, the cycles of the seasons, the cycles that women go through. We've had a lot of different guests who've touched on this in different ways. And I love how it all connects. It is, we are connected with nature and we are part of nature, but we have separated so much from nature. I mean, even to the point where we wear shoes and walk on concrete, so we don't even feel the ground underneath our feet. And I love how you describe this. Now, please do correct me if I'm wrong, but is there also an Ayurvedic yoga practice, or am I getting myself confused?
No, you're not confusing anyone or yourself. You are right. What happens is, we know yoga, and there is this way where yoga can be customized for a person depending on his Ayurvedic dosha, mind, body, constitution. For example, if someone is very dominant in fire element, if they do yoga practices that increase your heat in the body, it's not good for them. Especially if it's summer. So this kind of person definitely would do cooling yoga, whereas someone who runs cold would do warming yoga. And then also, depending on the weather, you can choose specific yoga asanas.
Okay, I think I've heard about this somewhere. That's why I wanted to just have some clarity there. So thank you. That's really helpful, and especially for our listeners who have maybe never even heard of Ayurvedic medicine or yoga or anything. And this is a way that they can start to maybe just see if that appeals to them, because obviously not everything appeals to everyone, but it is always nice to see where things land them, where things guide them. And as you said, is what do they need to hear today when they listen to this episode?
Sorry, but there's something coming up. Is it okay if I share that? Sometimes all this can be overwhelming for people. And I want to share to the listeners that it's okay. You don't need to know everything. You just need to know what is the biggest challenge you have right now. And you want to know what is your vision for yourself. And the roadmap will be shown to you. And people who can hold your hand and support you will automatically and magically appear for you. You just need to take the next step. That's it. One step at a time. Things will be revealed to you when you're ready for it. When the student is ready, the guru will appear. So avoid getting into overwhelm. There's a reason you're listening to this podcast today. Trust that reason, trust the universe. Take deep breaths and just look at the next thing.
Fantastic advice, and such a simple thing. Like you said, just breathe and just, not think about everything. So theta healing, is that pronounced right? So what is that? Because I've not actually heard of that one at all.
Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how amazing theta healing is. Oh my gosh. It will just blow you away. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is which knows how to eat food, how to digest, how to drive. All these things happen subconsciously, right? We have no control over it. And consciously is when we choose, okay, this is what I'm going to eat. This is what I'll wear. Consciously, I'm making decisions. Now, the tricky part is the subconscious mind, which is not in our control, runs more than 90% of our life. I'm going to give you an example. If someone says, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. tomorrow, that is a conscious decision. But they are never able to wake up at 5 a.m. For some reason, they don't understand. And they keep feeling guilty and bad about themselves and angry with themselves. How many people are angry with themselves? That how can I not do such a simple thing? Subconscious mind is there to play. We have beliefs in our subconscious mind. And those beliefs actually create our life. If a woman thinks she is a victim of a man in her subconscious mind, she will create situations again and again and again where she will be a victim of men. She will be, the whole belief will be reinforced to her. Any misery we are going through today, somewhere it has been created by our subconscious mind. Many people have recognized this. Many people have tried to work with subconscious mind and they came up with tools. One tool, meditation. Second tool, affirmations. Do they take time? Yes. Are they easy? No. Kind of. You ask so many people, are they able to meditate? It's very hard to sit still. I teach yoga and sometimes I find people can't even close their eyes while doing the asana. They find it hard to close eyes. So these things take time, and theta healing is a fairly new modality. And what that does is it accesses the theta brainwave. That's a brainwave through a meditation. And when I access it, and if I'm connected to your energy, you will also be in that theta brainwave, but you will not realize it. It is like you're absolutely normal. You're absolutely here. And through that brainwave, we can access subconscious mind. And in one session, we can change beliefs. And those beliefs are changed and we can test. So you can test in the body in the beginning, what is the belief? And the body will tell you yes or no. And then after the session, again, you test it and the body will now tell you yes or no. And once you change your subconscious mind, for example, I had a huge fear of loving people because I didn't want to be hurt. I used to keep asking, how can you even get a dog? I am so afraid that I love the dog so much and then the dog will not live long enough, right? And using theta healing, I actually removed that fear of hurt. So there's so much we can do.
Thank you for sharing that, because that, as I said, I've not heard of this healing before, and I don't think Lenka has either. So it's really interesting, because this is something new that we can start to, even look into, or maybe now that we know a bit about it, put it out there and start to learn more about it. And as you said, it is a different way of healing. It's really going into the brain waves and deep meditation. So thank you for sharing that. And I like your examples. They're really simple, and sometimes simple that is best. I think we overcomplicate things sometimes. So thank you so much for sharing and just helping us to understand these different modalities and different ways of thinking, or finding different ways that we can heal ourselves. And of course, not everything will work for everybody, but when we can try different things, we find the one that does work. And of course, we can talk for hours about all this, and I really appreciate that it's very early in the morning where you are, and your time and energy and just sharing with us. But Lenka and I, we always do like to have more. And we have this section where, is there another gold nugget, or a thought, or an idea, or top tips, or even repeat something of what you have said? This is now the space to share what you feel needs to be shared. And as I said, it could be maybe repeating something, or something's coming to you, but this is just a sort of a final gold nugget.
Okay. Beautiful question, and I can share what's coming. The future of the world is in the hands of women. Women have a special power, which is to give birth, and that's called Shakti. And this Shakti, imagine, it can give birth, like that powerful. You can create a human being, so powerful. So I want to remind women that you are powerful. Don't lose your power to other people. This person not letting me do this person said that. How can people be like that? You are just trying to be small because somewhere you're afraid to step into your power. But I want you to know, this is the time for you to stand up and be a role model. Show your partner, show your children, show the society that women know what they want. Women have the gumption to go for it. Women are not busy trying to prove women are equal to men. Somewhere I don't even believe that. We can give birth. We have a special gift. So don't be tied up in all these societal things. These are too petty. Find yourself, find your inner power, connect with the goddess within, and rise up. The world needs you. The world needs the gifts you're here to give. And you will feel the fulfillment and the love you might have never felt before. Thank you.
Such a lovely nugget, step into your inner goddess and your power. And I thank you for sharing that. That is very beautiful. And it's a lovely reminder, because as you said, we try to fit into society, whereas we are, as women, more powerful than that, and to really embrace our inner goddess. So thank you. So if somebody's listening to this and they think, you know what, I need more, I want to find out more, how can people connect with you? How can they come into your sort of circle?
Okay. So I work with people both in person and online. So I work with people everywhere. So that's good. Thankfully, all my modalities can be done online, virtually. There are a couple of options. One is I have my website. It will be in the show notes, but I can just say it. It's AYUWISE, Ayuwise, ayuwise.com. And just go to the website and you can book a 30-minute call with me. I also have a handout there for calming the mind. If you download the handout, you'll get added to my newsletter list. And you'll become part of my inner world. So in the show notes, I'm also going to offer the newsletter subscription form. You can just sign up through that. I have an anger handout as well. 3 things you can do about anger. So that is also a handout. So I guess my website, I am on Instagram. That's Ayurveda Oasis for Moms. That's my handle for Instagram. And my newsletter, these are the ways you can connect with me. I think that sounds good, right, Natalie?
Yes,
should
no,
be
that's
good.
brilliant. And as you mentioned, the links will all be in the show notes so people can then access. So I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, sharing your energy with us today, and actually giving us, myself and Lenka, a new thing to look into and to learn a little bit about, because both of us we love learning. We very much bookworms, and we like to just find new things. So ThetaHealing is something that I'm definitely going to look a little bit more into, just because I love knowledge and I love learning new things. So thank you so much for that, and for sharing your experience and sharing about, you know, struggling with feeling love. And I think that's going to be such a, you're going to resonate with a lot of listeners, because I think this is something that in this world and day and age, I think it's something that a lot of people do find difficult, because it's been so easy to get hurt, so you just shield yourself. So again, thank you for sharing that. And for our listeners, what have you got from today? What modality has really triggered you to think, oh, I want to learn more about that? Have you heard about ThetaHealing? And is this something you know something about and have tried it? We'd love to know. And just, what is your understanding or your feelings around feeling love? Is this something that you struggle with, or is this something you've really embraced and you, as the saying goes, wear your heart on your sleeve and really embrace love all around you? We'd love to know your thoughts and feelings and what you've thought about all that we've spoken about today. And until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
If you enjoyed listening to our conversation, please share it with your friends and colleagues, and don't forget to subscribe. We would love it if you could give us a 5-star rating and write a short review.